Right, hello there, guys. When it comes to the UK, it just does not get any better, does it? Every time you wake up, there is always something in the news to infuriate the hell out of you. And today's news was putting migrants in 300 grand townhouses. Hi guys, today is the 1st of September. I want to talk candidly about the UK and where the hell it is going. Before we do get into it, I just want to highlight a few key differences between communism and democracy. I believe at this current moment we are more communist or moving towards communism than we are democracy. I've asked Grok here for the definitions and core ideologies to make sure I get nothing wrong. Communism, a socio-economic system aiming for classless societies where the means of production are collectively owned and wealth distributed based on need. It emphasises centralised control to eliminate private property and class distinctions. Now before we go deeper into that, we'll just do democracy, which is a political system where power is vested in the people, typically exercised through elected representatives or direct participation, prioritising individual freedoms and rights. Right. Going just off that, of the core ideology. Now, would you say right now the UK is balancing more on communism? Now, we know the socialist state. I've said for a long, long time that socialism inevitably leads to communism. Now, the way the UK is structured at the minute, we are now controlled by external entities, and that being the WEF, the World Economic Forum, and all this bullshit that is trying to change the world into what they call utopia, but in reality, it's dystopia. That's what it is. Now, right now, here in the UK, let's look at these definitions. We have a classless society. Now, what is it that certainly this Labour government, I mean, when I blame Labour, the Tories were pretty much in for this as well, but they weren't as forward-facing, they weren't as brash with their decisions. But certainly Labour could not give a flying toss. Not at all. They will just come in and lay down the groundwork and put out their diktats, and you are going to accept it regardless. That's the way they think. So, the classless society. When you look at the economic state in the UK, the tax burdens, as they like to call them, the wealth the UK has that is being transferred, and it is being transferred. Last year, we had a £22 billion black hole from a government that was in power for 14 years. Now, in that year, we are giving billions away to climate change. We are giving billions away to foreign immigrants, illegal immigrants, and we have money wasted left, right and centre on the whole Green New scam. That's the biggest one. With the fact that the wealth of these MPs seem to be going up, Angela Rayner in particular, when you look at her background and how long she's been in government, what she did before government, when you look at Angela Rayner, now Angela Rayner, she's a working class lassie from the north. So she was primarily a carer, and then in 2015 decided to join politics. Now, a carer's salary is around about what? 24,000 a year. And a councillor, you're looking, what, 30 to 35,000 a year. And of recent years, certainly in the last year, she become a MP in the House of Parliament, which is around about between 100 and 150,000 pounds a year. So, looking at everything, can you explain to me why Angela Rayner is now worth £6 million? Explain that to me. And then you've got the controversies of buying 3 homes in a time where she's telling you you will be taxed to hell on your second home. She's got 3. Now, one of them is in London for work, which is strange because the idea of buying this one 50 miles away from London was for work purposes. Now, to save herself £40,000 in stamp duty on this new purchase of a house, she took her name off the deeds of her old house in her constituency and now registers her new flat, which is an £800,000 flat, as her primary residence. Now, this highlights the hypocrisy of a Labour MP. The Deputy Prime Minister is willingly committing tax avoidance. Yes, technically it might be legal, but it's not moral, especially when this person constantly outs the previous government for allowing wealthy people to avoid taxes. Now, the hypocrisy is rife. It really is. We have money going left, right, and centre in this government. Our borrowing is out of control. The amount of wastage we have on reckless spending, which in my opinion is active theft, because that £22 billion black hole from 14 years ago has now ballooned to 50 billion. You have to ask the questions why and how. But this facilitates them to up our taxes. We're now going to have a new levy on your property, as well as council tax. If you want a property that's over £500,000, you will now be subject to a yearly tax on that. Now, the worrying thing about this is that tax can then be inflated at any time, and the stipulations brought down. So in the near future, it won't just be £500,000 houses, it will be £300,000 houses, down to a £100,000 house, to the point where whatever it is, whatever home you own, you will be paying levy on it, a new property tax. And that's where that's going. And these taxes will hike like any other tax. If you allow a new tax to come in, it is not going to stay at that price. It is going to lower the stipulations, the thresholds to when that tax should be paid, and the tax itself will increase across all the boards, all the values. So when communism says a socio-economic system aiming for a classless society, this is what I've said for a long time. They are not bringing the working class up to the middle class levels. They are bringing the middle class levels and the upper middle class levels down to the working class. Now, this is obvious, and it perplexes me because we have the middle class people. These are the lefty lunatics that are counter-protesting our voice, which is wrong. These people, I'm going to say this, right? Because I have a dislike for people. I like a person. I have a dislike for people because when people get together, people are stupid. And in the last couple of months, in the past year, I would say, I have been humbled because I'm seeing a lot more intelligence in people. And that is one thing I dislike people for, the groupthink, the mass psychosis, which still goes on in the left, in my opinion. I know I am biased because I am right-wing, or if you look at the narrative, I am extreme right. Now, extreme right, Nazi, racist, it's all bullshit. From certainly the past 5 years, they have weaponized this racist and homophobe, transphobe. They've created all these things because they don't have an argument. I'm just going to leave that there. I've said it many times in many videos. They don't have an argument, so they make up words to slander you. Ignore them. They mean fuck all. What it means is they are scared of what we are capable of. That's exactly what it means. Because we know what we stand for, they don't. So bear that one in mind. When you bring people down to all being at the same level, we no longer have a class system. When it comes to capitalism, I believe that capitalism does fuel oligarchs, the billionaires. It facilitates monopolies. It facilitates corruption. Capitalism, as a rule, if you can tighten down capitalism, capitalism works because capitalism gives you benefits on hard work. With socialism, there is no risk reward because you're getting all the risk and everyone else is getting all the reward. That's not how this works. Because if that works, productivity goes down. We will see less employment because people are unwilling to risk and not reap the benefits of that risk. Why should someone funnel millions of pounds into a business for everyone else to see the benefits and you not so much? That's all by the by because you will own nothing and be happy. This is blowing right fucking past communism and waving bye-bye, we're off to the next level. Yes, keep capitalism. We need to tighten some edges on it. We need to tighten capitalism up a little bit and really make it harder to corrupt and exploit. But to get rid of capitalism for socialism, you don't want a socio-economic structure at all because, like I said, productivity will be down. Laziness will be through the roof. There is no incentive to succeed in socialism. A socio-economic climate would give no one the incentive to succeed, no one the incentive to strive. There'd be no innovation. A political system where power is vested in the people. Right now, we still have elections. I'm going to put that in quotation marks, elections. But I fear that, especially in the past year, how fast we're accelerating towards communism, I have a fear that by 2029, if we don't get this motherfucker out beforehand, that they will supersede elections and just keep themselves in power. Now, I hope that's not the case, I really do. And prioritising individual freedoms and rights. Right, now this is a thing. These have already been eroded. We have no prioritising of individual freedoms or rights. Just yesterday alone, the police are ramping up, and they are ramping up. When we got the news that this Home Office, not only did they apply to appeal against the ruling on the Bell Hotel in Epping, but they won. And one of the most controversial points of that was the fact that they said the quiet part out loud and said that the rights of the illegal immigrants are more important than the rights of the citizens of the United Kingdom. That is not just a controversial statement. That is, to me, a treasonous statement. It just oozes contempt for the people. Now, I've said in many videos that this government is anti-British. They are against its people. I'm calling for everybody to invest, every single MP. If you've got a Labour councillor in your constituency, there's a good starting point. Investigate everything from their past, from finances to associations to whatever, donations, and highlight them. Certainly put them on X. And I'm not afraid to make a video. I'll take stuff off X and I will put it on YouTube. If it fails on YouTube, I'll find some way to get it out. A lot of people will. But we need to investigate each and every one of these corrupt politicians who is ruining your life and mine. Reading in the Fabian Society, which is a communist social thing. They're all fighting for communism in this Fabian Society. From what I can see, pretty much every Labour MP, certainly on the front bench, are part of this, and the judges they use for Epping. I want to keep reaching into this because this could be something big and really highlight the corruption and the ideologies they are pushing. These ideologies do not work for democracy. We are a democratic society. So I implore everybody, read in, look in, investigate, even if it's just hearsay. If it's hearsay, take it on board. Don't believe it, research it, and prove it. All you have to do. It's really that simple. It's what I'm doing. I spend day and night on the internet looking for things. And I'm going to be very outspoken as the time goes on. I have been before, but I got censored. I get channels that get no traction. This one, while it's not getting traction and reach, at least it hasn't been deleted yet. I set up this channel ages ago, put a few things on and left it to see what would happen. Now, the past couple of weeks, I've adopted this channel to put more and more stuff on, pushing the boundaries to see how elastic this channel can be, see how much I can push. Now, I'm hoping that this channel will stay around and will start gaining traction. I will air my views unapologetically. I really will. I've got nothing to lose. I haven't. So I don't mind. Come after me. And I will just say, from the start, before it gets anywhere, just in case it does, I am in no way suicidal. I don't take holidays, and if I do, I will not forget to come back. I don't look for nefarious things on my computer or my laptop so my hard drives are clean. I don't supply drugs of any sort. Any criminal activity I don't take part in. So if something comes up, I've done this, I've done that, I've committed suicide, I've run off, I've hidden away, I've went to another country, never come back, these things are all bullshit. I'm just going to put that out there because there are some really, really evil people in the world. The same as if they don't like what you say, they will call you racist. They will destroy your careers and your lives. We're going to protect ourselves from these people. They try to grab dirt, and when they can't grab dirt, they create dirt. When I say investigate every single one of these, I do not want to do it their way by creating a problem. But when you find it, you make sure it's highlighted and ruin their reputations, ruin their careers. So it's using their tactics against them. We'll keep it honest. That was just an aside. We'll run down to the next one. Point 2, the economic structure. Communism. Centrally planned economy. With state ownership of resources and production, private property is largely abolished. The economic decisions are made by the state to achieve equality. Now, when I keep going on about the World Economic Forum, what is their main tagline? You will own nothing and be happy. This means your house, your car, just about anything. Like I said before, your entertainment has already gone on a subscription service. So imagine that over every facet of your life. When you see that corporations are buying up a majority of the land and properties in the UK, BlackRock seems to be buying up a lot of property. The phrase you will own nothing and be happy starts to really come in, and it's funny. All of this is listed by Grok as communism. I had quite a grasp on democracy and communism, but I just wanted to get a better view. And to be honest, when I asked Grok, I actually learned some things I didn't know. By that I mean, reading further down, we're going to the United States democracy, Switzerland, and the UK. I did not quite understand the differences, but now I do. So the World Economic Forum's "You will own nothing and be happy" is a red flag to communism. Now, in a democracy, typically paired with a market of mixed economy where private property and individual enterprise are protected, economic decisions are driven by market forces with varying degrees of government regulation. Now, that's how it used to be. The market does dictate, not the government. You can see already, we've gone through 2 points, point 1, point 2, which was the ideologies and the economic structure. And we can already see that the UK, certainly in my opinion, is pointing more towards communism. Over the last year, you can certainly see it. From the start of 2025, you can certainly see the direction towards communism rather than democracy. Now, that being said, we'll move down to political power. Point 3, communism. Power is concentrated in a single party or state apparatus, often led by a vanguard party. Political dissent is typically suppressed to maintain ideological unity. Need I say anymore? Is anybody challenging this Labour government? They are dictating everything with very little pushback from opposition, often led by a vanguard party. Now, a vanguard party is a party who claims to represent and for the good of the people while raging against and trying to dismantle capitalism. That description perfectly encapsulates Labour. I don't have to say much on this, just the description alone and looking at modern times of where we are. We'll go into the democracy side of point 3, and that is power is distributed through free elections with multiple parties competing. Citizens have the right to vote, express dissent and participate in governance. Now, this is something that is being eroded. Certainly the dissent part of it. We can't express dissent. When we express dissent, we are condemned. Sometimes arrested, sometimes locked up. In the comments, tell me, in these 3 points, what you see. Just let me know. I'm going to put a little poll in there to see if we're more democratic or if we now accelerate into communism. Right, we'll skip to point 4 because this video is going to take a long time. I keep explaining everything. Communism. Individual freedoms are often subordinated to collective goals. Personal liberties like speech or movement may be restricted to prevent challenges to the system. Like I said, I'll try and keep it brief and rush through these now. In democracy, it emphasises individual rights such as freedom of speech, press, assembly, and religion, protected by law and upheld through institutions like courts. Moving down to point 5, the class system. Communism aims to eliminate class distinctions, creating a society where all are equal in economic and social status, though in practice a bureaucratic elite often emerges. Yeah. Democracy does not inherently address class, but allows social mobility through merit and opportunity. Class disparities persist, but are not the system's primary focus. And now we'll just skip into point 6, which is implementation examples. Communism, historically seen in states like the Soviet Union, Maoist China and Cuba, though implementations often deviated from theoretical ideals, leading to authoritarianism. Now, in democracy, practiced in various forms. Now, this is what I wasn't completely sure of until I read this. Democracy practiced in various forms, like the United States, a representative democracy, Switzerland, a direct democracy, and parliamentary systems in countries like the UK. Decision-making. Communism, top-down decision-making by the state or ruling party, with limited input from citizens. Democracy, decisions are made through elective representatives or referendums, with mechanisms for public input and accountability. The philosophical roots of communism. Communism, based on Marxist-Leninist theory, focusing on historical materialism and the overthrow of capitalism, where democracy is rooted in Enlightenment ideas, emphasising individual liberties, equality before the law, and popular sovereignty. Now, when you look at it, I'm going to put a poll on this channel. Do you believe that we are still a democracy, or do you think we are heading towards being a communist state, and have been for a while? Now, communism does not work. Socialism is the foot in the door for communism. Can you imagine just this last year, just since January, say, where all of these laws, these pseudo-laws I call them, they are acts, they are legislation. And yes, I watch a lot of auditors and stuff like that, and a lot of acts and legislation people say are not laws. Technically they are. But we have what I call pseudo-laws. And these are things to protect the state and the state's ideologies against its people. This is a corrupt way of running a democracy, such as having the input to vote against certain things, referendums, like we had to leave the EU. The Brexit camp won, yet they called for a second referendum on it because they didn't get the result they wanted, straight away. It's like, no, we put it through a democratic vote and you lost. Deal with it, bitch. It's as simple as that. You can't say, right, let's vote on what we do. Oh, the vote didn't work out my way. Let's do it again. Best out of three sort of thing. Come on. Rock, paper, scissors. Democracy has been a joke for such a long time. It really has. I want to touch on the police. Before I say this, I was having a conversation with a police officer the other day. I won't give no names. I didn't get it on camera because the police force is very woke and have no problem at all removing really good officers from their force for going against their woke ideologies. I believe that a lot of the police officers don't agree with this. Everything that's going on, they don't like going against the people. They believe the laws they're enforcing are not right. But when you look at the hierarchies in the police force, certainly when it comes to management, if you don't adhere to their way of policing, you're out the door. And some of these police officers have been in 20, 30, 40 years and can lose their pension. I messaged a few people, Rupert Lowe and such on X, asking, they are all pushing to be elected into government. Now, the one question I have, and it's going to be a turning point for the UK in my opinion, that a lot of police officers do not agree with the way the woke police are dealing with the public. The public being us, we are the people they took an oath to protect. Now, there are certain police officers out there, I'm not saying all of them because some of them are really woke and really, really abuse this power. But there are, in my opinion, many officers that do not agree with policing against the people, with pseudo-laws that are purely just designed to vilify and subdue. That's all a lot of these laws are for. A lot of these officers have been in the force for 20, 30, 40 years. And if they don't follow out this woke agenda, they will lose their pension. So I asked them that if they got in power, and not all instances, if police get fired for abusing the power and facilitating, allowing laws to be broken willingly, for people who believe this new regime of policing goes against their oath and are subsequently fired, will they protect their pensions to guarantee that these officers get their pensions upon what I would call a unfair dismissal? I believe that will be the turning point to whether a police officer will stand by his oath and join the people, or will continue to enforce this woke ideology. Pains me to say, but it is becoming the people against the power. This doesn't just mean government, this means the police. I had a conversation with an officer. I'm not going to mention no names or anything or whereabouts this officer's from. But we agreed on one thing. The old school of policing worked because it started out like, I'm talking to you like a person, and I would like you to talk to me like a person, which I can respect. We then got into a conversation how in the past, policing was on a personal level, but now policing is just one woke group. There's no individuality in a police officer anymore. It is, I am doing this job, you're in the way. Where once over, you could interact with the police on a human level, and there are some officers out there that still do this. You cannot interact with the police on a personal level. It is just the job. They have made it them and us. There is no police officer and there is no citizen. There is a group of police and a group of people. That's what policing's become now. And Liam Tufts put out a video where a police officer wouldn't even shake his hand. To me, it's not just a sign of disrespect, it's an actual sign of contempt. It really is. One thing that echoes through the police force, and I agree with this, but I will put caveats into why I agree with it, that the police force no longer have powers, and they don't. The police are scared to do their job. One wrong word, or one little excessive bit of force to protect and defend themselves, they see themselves potentially losing their job or facing criminal convictions themselves. Now, this is wrong. And in this conversation, I went back to when I was a child. I'm 45. Many years ago, when we got caught doing something wrong, we would have a clip round the ear, tucked back, and our parents would be told to punish us, And growing up, if we ended up in the cell and you were a cheeky little twat, which I've got to admit I used to be, you were then wrapped in the very, very thin mattresses while they give you a kicking. Police need room to exercise their duties. They do. But here's where comes the caveat. Certainly, you wouldn't make this a legal stipulation, police can do whatever they want, because, you have a lot of bad police officers out there, and there are a lot of them. There really is. And this just gives them the go-ahead to beat fuck out of the general public. See, we're in the day and age now where auditors are everywhere, and this is what I'm heading towards, being an auditor. But there are some good ones and there are some bad ones who do go around and cause a problem where there isn't a problem, just for views to earn money. And considering this is what I want to go into, I think that's quite scummy. There are better ways to make money. Because essentially, when you go in and antagonize, certainly with the police are trying to do their job. I will record the police. I will not interfere with the police doing their job. And if asked to walk away, I will step back. But it's like all out to say, I do this for the police themselves, who do have their own body cameras, and the person being arrested, to make sure there is no wrongdoing, to antagonize a situation where there was none. See, I see a lot of people filming police stations and such as that. And you know what? To an extent, I get it, because a lot of police officers don't actually know the law. You do such as this to educate them, to prove a point. But there has to be a limit. Police stations are on high terror alert, same as everywhere else. I wonder why that is. It's not the far right, is it, that's a terrorist? But yet you import loads of illegal immigrants, which many of them are Islamic fundamentalists. So I get doing it to highlight and educate, but that's all you need to do. Some police do come out and they're really aggressive and what I like to call jobs worth. Now, the knock-on effect of this, some police do overreach, and we need to weed these ones out. Like every institution, everything has gone woke, everything is a political ideology. Policing without fear or favour is bollock. Policing, really, and the way law and order works, it's a social contract, the same as the contract between the people and government. It's a social contract. We have that cohesion there, because certainly with the police, they are supposed to police without fear or favour. And the people understand that if I do something wrong, I am going to get wrong. But if someone does something wrong to me, I am protected because they are going to get wrong. This is why the social contract works. Now, when you have a police force where a person now thinks, if I do something wrong, or even if I don't do something wrong but perceived to be wrong by a certain people, then I am getting done. But if someone does something wrong to me, they are not going to get done. You see, the social contract is then null and void. So the police have no authority over the people they don't represent. Does that make any sense? And it's the same with government. We have a social contract with the government in that we abide by their laws, their way of governing. Everything is level, is what it's supposed to be. But saying all this, I believe, yes, the police need actual powers. They can't. If a police swears at somebody, for fuck's sake, they are human. These police take a lot of abuse. And yes, they are trained to be thick-skinned. But still, how much abuse can you as a person take until, sometimes you say, oh, fuck off, you wanker. And you think you're thinking it in your head, but apparently you've said it. Everyone does this. Slip of the tongue is a thing. Stuff like that. Just let it go. Someone should not lose the job for acting somewhat in a personal capacity. They shouldn't. But we come to a slippery slope because there are, what I was talking about there was the good police officers. And they do exist. There are some really good ones. But we don't want to give too many powers to the bad ones. This is the problem I find myself in. This is the conundrum. Giving the good ones the tools to do their job and stopping the bad ones from abusing these tools. You know what I mean? You see where the problem is. And this is what I say. If we protect the police, give the police, if the police don't agree with what they police them with, allow them to vocalise that. And if need be, stand with the people and knowing that they're financially protected. They are not going to lose their pension. And we will see, in my opinion, we will see a mass exodus from the police force. We really will. But the police force cannot afford this. So, in turn, what we are doing is ensuring that the good people keep their employment and start policing properly. It gives the police the powers. There's 170,000 police officers in the UK. And joining the police force, the recruitment for joining the police force has dropped significantly. No one wants to be a police officer anymore. So the police officers themselves do not realise how much power they actually have. And like the people, if they stood together, they could do their job properly because they just stand up to their superiors and just say, no, I am not policing like this. I don't agree with policing like this. It's not what I took an oath for. In the oath, they protect the crown, the government and the people. But they are supposed to protect the people over the government. Now, right now, they're protecting the government over the people, which is wrong. Now, I believe police officers should have this power to go against their superiors saying, look, that's not policing to me. That's not what I signed up for. That's not what I trained for. That's not what I do. And like the people on the streets, if enough police officers push back and the police service have no other option but to allow them to police and remove the woke bullshit, I can see that the way it's going, we are going to see the same as when you see these auditors, when you see these hotels and stuff like that. All their security and pretty much most of their staff is Middle Eastern men. Would you agree with that? It's not a big stretch to think that they would start recruiting for the police or our British Army with these men. That's going to be a dangerous precedent because right now we know we push back, the law is weaponised against us. If civil unrest happens, the army will be called in. The army are pretty much British and live in this country, have families in this country, have friends, have a life in this country. So there is going to be a lot of pushback when it happens. When your country is threatened, your true loyalties come out. Then fill your police force and your armed forces with non-British people. You then do away with these patriotic contingencies, where we will go down that road, if I'm honest. But once that happens, that is full-on treason. That is using the enemy to police. The country is running down a very dangerous place where everything is weaponised against the people. The people of the UK, the citizens, have become the enemy of the state. And like I said, looking into communism, democracy, socialism, whatever it is you want to call it, do you want a world where you actually own nothing, where you have no say? Do you want a 15-minute city you will not be able to leave? Do you want to have no say in what goes on in your country or the world? Do you want police to have the ability to drag you out of bed in the middle of the night because you said something, or in the future you just thought something? Because that is where the UK is heading. In the past year, I have seen many people waking up, and we need this. It's the unintelligent side I despise, because there is no critical thinking. You can give them facts, but until these people are actually affected, they will not hear, they do not know. I heard this thing, some lefty was saying, look, these people need our protection. A lot of these people come from the 10 most dangerous countries in the world. And I was looking, and I was watching, and I was shaking my head. It's like, do you know why these are the 10 most dangerous places in the world? Do you think it's the place that's dangerous or the people? Now, what happens when you get all them people from 10 countries, from 10 dangerous countries, into one? The place isn't dangerous, the people are. You take the people out of the place, that place is no longer dangerous. You put them in another place, that place is now dangerous. So in my opinion, the way we're going, the UK will be in the top 3 of the most dangerous places in the world. When you look at the truth, they are not escaping war, famine, whatever it was. These are economic migrants. These are a military strategic operation, in my honest opinion, for a majority of them. They are bordering right next to other Muslim countries. Why don't they go there? They pass through many countries to get to the UK. Why don't they stay there? Now, I've heard a few reports that France actually facilitate them coming over here by the police, getting them on buses, and the actual French government giving them letters telling them they have to leave. They have no right to remain with France, which is funny because the European Convention for Human Rights is part of the EU, which is so is France. The UK is not part of the EU, and we need to get rid of this European Convention for Human Rights. We really do. But why are we not part of the EU? Yet we uphold the ECHR, but when we have police running through a mall for British patriots, but yet Palestinian mobs and all stuff like this are out every week going through these places, and they're allowed to do whatever they want. It was exactly the same as BLM, the destruction that was caused by BLM, which was an American thing, but for some reason the UK adopted it, and leaders all over the world were bending the knee. All the left-wing leaders, anyway, were bending the knee. And all these poor, oppressed people. A few weeks before the Southport riots, we had the Hare Hills riots, which were very, very violent. Nothing happened. The police ran away. Nothing was said by Keir Starmer. He didn't come out and condemn them. But when we have scenes like this, and bear in mind, the police yesterday really ramped up pepper spraying 11-year-old children and 70-year-old women, and kettling people in once again. Look at that. Because British patriots march through them all. Absolutely pathetic. These are the scenes we see now. And I'll find the video from the lefties and how the police actually don't just facilitate these Antifa lefties. They actually escort them, protect them. And X is the perfect. I will say thank you, Elon, because you're really speaking up about the UK, and without your platform, we would not get to witness any of this. We would not get any of the truth. So it is only your platform that is allowing that. And I appreciate that, because I'm on your platform day and night. Every time I look for research, it's always on X first, and then Ground News. And this puts a good question out there as well. That the grooming gangs across the country has been covered up for so long. We are now estimating 1 million people that's been affected, and this video encapsulates the police's presence.
That for 30 and 40 years, in some cases, broke their oaths. And standing before you are the police officers of the United Kingdom that for 30 and 40 years, in some cases, broke their oaths and hid grooming gangs because the Crown prosecution told them that underage girls who were being drugged with alcohol and drugs had been sexually active on their own accord, and now the bed that they've got can lie in. And every single one of these followed through. They never whistleblowed. They never told us why. Well, many years ago, they were asked a question about us, and if they would do something to us. The ones that said no were all sacked. The ones that said yes are the ones that hid all of these crimes from us, and the ones that are standing in front of you right now, acting like they're heroes, defending illegal people that came here into this country. The Act in 2023 states that if anybody harbours an illegal person in this country, it's life in prison. So, look at them all. Let that sink in.
Yeah. I disagree with every one of them being complicit, but yeah, it's certainly. Let me find the video I wanted to find. Yeah. This is perfect, isn't it? The police wouldn't shake Liam Tuff's hands, but they will quite happily get down and jiggy in there. Carnival. Diversity is a fucking joke. There, this is the video I want to highlight.
What do we have here? Police officers are...
In this video, I just want to highlight that the police don't only protect, but they escort the left. So there's an immediate bias there. And the patriots, the concerned citizens of the United Kingdom, aren't just working against the left, they are working against the police as well. The police are working against the British people.
Okay, what do we have here? Police officers are stopping the traffic to get some people across the road. Who are the people? Interesting. Let's see how this pans out. As you can see, all of these characters are being escorted across the road. All of them have their faces covered completely. These coppers are stopping the traffic. Watch out, come on guys, across here. As you can see, all of them are just coming across, all booted and suited with the same crap, with backpacks on as well. What's all that about? All of them have got backpacks. They get over to here, and let me just freeze. Oh, damn it. One sec. Yeah, there. I want it there. When they get here, they get to some other officers, and they're all being taught about like directions or something about where they're going, what to do next. Here's your copper here. He's watching the zone. And this has been going on for some time. You see, over the road, you start bringing all these guys over, the signpost queens. So this guy's got his big one all rolled up. She's got the love sign with hate through it. Just stop the hate. It looks like an Israeli flag behind that. Yeah, I ain't being funny, but look, just blame the billionaires, not the people in small boats. Yeah, all the signs, these ones we've been seeing a lot of. These look like they came straight out the Labour Party's budget. Yeah, and the coppers are escorting them all over. All happily. Look, since when the police escort protesters? Normally they're at the front line in riot gear waiting for you to get there. They ain't escorting you there and saying have a nice protest, I can tell you that. And when you look at the characters that they're bringing in, I'm not being funny folks, but it's a setup. And here they all are, being paid by your government to do it. Does this guy go home to a family at home and go, oh, you know how to do this today? Man, you should name and shame them all, because they don't care about their country, they don't care about their people, they just care about their paycheck, because they're breaking their oath doing this, they're breaking the law doing this. There's treason, folks, what they're doing. It's set up from our own government to bring in new tighter restrictions and laws. That's it.
Yeah, so pretty much, guys, there we have it. The police are standing their ground for the wrong people, you know, and the government is against the people. I'm going to finish this video with the same as I always say. Everything that's happening is by design. Don't buy into the bullshit. Wake up your friends, grab your phone, get yourself a YouTube platform or Facebook or whatever you want to do and document life. Call the bullshit out. That's all we need to do. Call it out. We are in the right. We really are. Let's fuck up their design. On that, guys, I will catch you on the next video. Thank you very much and goodbye.